Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with another vid. And this is going to be another on my computer screen video where I kind of talk about, well, if you looked at the title, you know I'm going to be talking about value in smartphones. Ask question of why some smartphones are so expensive. I figured this would be a good topic since obviously Apple just had their official announcement of their $1,000 iPhone X. That is a record, I believe. Now, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I believe that is a record high for a mainstream smartphone. I don't think anybody has ever unveiled one that costs unveiled one that starts at $1,000. Now, before you're like, oh, you're just gonna bash Apple in this video. Now I'm going to pick on Samsung too, so don't worry. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm going to shrink myself, and we're going to take a look here. Oh, I guess I'm just going to move myself. Gotta shrink. There we go. I shrunk a whole bunch. We're going to take a look at the features and see what makes this phone so special and magical. All right, so it seems like we're going to look at an article here about. We'll start with the coolest new features. It looks like okay. So what's so great about this thing? Okay, it looks like we've got a display, sharpest display ever on an iPhone. Okay, so it has a nice screen. It's an upgraded screen. Okay, what else we got? Facial recognition. Yeah, okay, whatever. Hooray, I guess. I guess that is maybe slightly more convenient than a fingerprint scanner, but not a lot. Oh yes, I'm sorry, animated emojis. Okay, yeah, that's a feature. Wireless charging. That's been in Android for a long time. New cameras, of course. New cameras. There's always new cameras in every flipping smartphone that you get. Okay, and that's that. So let's look at Apple's official specs here, or website about it. Well, I can make the X zoom. Okay. So what's so great about it? The screen. Okay, we've already been over that. Yay. The corners. Wow, it's thrilling. Although now, you know, with this new design, if you're looking at a full, you know, screen image, it doesn't look quite right with that thing there in the middle. Well, I digress. Let's see. Another camera. Water resistant, I guess, since they're showing water. I don't know. Water. Oh, yeah, there it is. Water and dust resistance. Fascinating. Okay, so new gestures. Yeah. Uh-huh. We already covered that. This. Okay, so you can pay for things with your phone, whatever. Again, let's see. I can do that with the fingerprint scanner on my phone, by the way. Which my phone was only $200, but whatever. Let's see here. Cameras. Okay. Portrait mode selfies. Wow. Okay, I'm pretty much tired of looking at this. Now we're going to look at the extremely expensive Samsung Galaxy S8, which is $840. I think it was $930 when it came out, so it was close to $1,000. I guess they must have dropped the price after the iPhone X was announced, but still, I think $840 is ridiculous. Oh, it only comes in 64 gig. Let's see what its specs are. Okay. All right, all right. Okay, they're talking about another screen. Okay. Just just about how great the camera is. And Bixby, I guess, which is kind of like a thing that recognizes landmarks and all that when you point at it with your camera. So I'm guessing that's like kind of like, you know, I don't know, some sort of integration with some sort of cloud service, I guess. It's VR capable, okay. But again, you don't need that much. And yeah, what was I going to try to say? The specs are quote unquote impressive, but they're not that much higher than my $200 phone. Whatever. Now we'll look at the official marketing for this thing. Okay, the screen. Okay, camera. Security. Oh, irises. Well, instead of your face, I guess it's your eyes. Okay. All right, again, talking about water and dust resist. Okay. Wow. All right. All right, I think, honestly, we've seen enough here of the expensive phones. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to kind of pop off and, you know, we're going to talk about if there's any actual real, you know, value for these or whatever. So I'll see you guys in about a second. All right, guys, what did we learn from the prior part of the video? We learned that these ridiculously expensive phones, well, at least ridiculously expensive in my opinion, are somewhat better, of course, than your run-of-the-mill average phones. But they're not, they're still, for lack of a better term, just smartphones, right? Yes, they have a few features that are better, of course, than what's found in this phone, right? But are they worth 5 times the cost? I mean, now this phone was 150 bucks, okay? Plus I paid $40 for the micro SD card and $10 for the case. So total cost is right around $200, right? For everything. So to me, would it be worth it to spend 5 times the amount that I spent on this to get either the Samsung or the iPhone X? No, not even close. Yes, there's a few features, but are they worth $800 more? I don't think so. Because the entire time I've been buying smartphones since 2012, granted I was not a super early adopter of it, I've never spent more than $200 on a smartphone. That's usually what I spend, is right around $200. I've never ever spent more than that. And I don't see myself ever doing that. So basically, if I bought one of those really expensive phones, that's the same amount that I would spend on my next 5 phones, right? And I tend to replace my phone about every 2 years. So that's 5 times 2 is 10 years. So if I had bought a really expensive phone 10 years ago, that's from 2007. So let's talk about the smartphones that were out then. We had the original iPhone, as in the original iPhone. Is anybody still using an original iPhone every day as their phone? I don't think so. I don't even think it's supported anymore by any of the networks. I don't even think you could if you wanted to. But its hardware is so limited compared to, you know, my humble, cheap phone nowadays that it's completely ridiculously obsolete. And of course, you had some of the early Android phones too that would be literal jokes compared to any smartphone on the market today. So even if you had bought a high-end phone 10 years ago, you wouldn't want to use it now. And is anyone going to want to use an iPhone X in 2027? Probably not. Apple most certainly will not support it for that long, and I don't really think many people will get much value out of them 10 years from now, because by then, of course, much better phones will come along, because, when smartphones became kind of the mainstay of, uh, mobile devices, cell phones went from being just phones and basic communication devices to computers in your pocket, right? And we're only 10 years into the smartphone era, really. Well, at least the modern smartphone era that started with the iPhone. I mean, yeah, they were smart, but we're not going to bother talking about those. We're only 10 years into it, so it's still, quote, early days, right? And in the early days of personal computing, you most certainly wouldn't want a computer that was 10 years old. Like, let's travel back to 1997, right? Let's say you had a Windows 95 PC, blah, 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 had a couple gig hard drive, maybe, 32 or 64 megs of RAM, yada, yada. That was pretty sweet for 1997, right? But a computer from 1987 would have been an absolutely obsolete piece of shit in 1997. It's kind of the same thing now, Now, the need to upgrade your smartphone will probably slow down at some point, just like it has for PCs. Because, I have some PCs that are, 10 years old that still work just fine as basic machines. But we're not there for smartphones yet, and it may be a long time before we kind of settle into that for smartphones. So, I don't know. I know I kind of went all over the place with this a little bit, but I really want to hear what you guys think. Do you think there is any real value in expensive smartphones, aside from being, the first kid on the block to get feature X or Y? Because eventually, obviously, these features trickle down to all smartphones. They don't stay in the $1,000 smartphones. They very quickly, in very short order, usually within a year, make their way down to the lesser smartphones. So anyway, I'd really be interested to hear your opinions on this. Anyway, that pretty much wraps it up. As always, if you enjoyed this, thumbs up. If you hated it, thumbs down. Share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.